So, in my recent dive into trying to learn more about the DC universe, because I wanted to become more of a dedicated fan and learn about the history of it. I came across a must-read, right? Considered to be a must-read for the DC continuity. This right here is called The Crisis on Infinite Earths. It is considered to be one of the most famous DC crossover events in their continuity. I, for one, I love history. I love to learn about history. This is pretty cool. It's pretty cool to say the least. But does it hold up? That's right. I'm taking you back to the past and reading the comics that are good or bad. So, Crisis on Infinite Earth is a pretty cool one because on the timeline of releasing comics, you got to know the basics, right? So, in the beginning, at least with DC's timeline, you have the Golden Age, right? The Golden Age was like the beginning of comics. This is like World War II around the time. Superman became a character, and Batman became a character, right? You have other characters too. Even older than that, like Flash Gordon. Those guys are super old comic book characters. It's called the Golden Age. You move on to the Silver Age. The Silver Age of characters, right? Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, all these characters came in the Silver Age. And then finally the Bronze Age. I, for one, I think a really good way to summarize this generation, these eras, it doesn't make any sense. The Alloy. I like to call them the Alloy era. The Alloy era of superheroes, right? Because that's all the metals. When I was reading, it said that Crisis was the writer's attempt to kind of like consolidate all of these branching storylines, because kind of like how modern day media is suffering today, we also have the multiverse issue, and that's what this is. So the issue beforehand of Crisis is that all the writers were freaking overwhelmed. There was like so many Earths. There's so much stuff, There's like, okay, this Batman is a red one. That one's blue. The different dimensions. It's confusing. It's confusing for average people to understand and read. And I kind of get that. Obviously, it's for nerds, but still, you want to have a basis of understanding, a foundation where people can go to and understand. And so, writing-wise, the one of the main points of Crisis was to help people get back into reading the stories by ending basically the multiverse. They were like, there's going to be one Earth now, okay, only one Earth. And they're going to basically showcase this by having this story. So the storyline itself is pretty simple. There's this wave of antimatter going across the multiverse, destroying all the worlds, right? Trillions are just being wiped from existence. It's Armageddon, essentially, across the multiverse. And so the heroes have to stop it. It starts off with this kind of the main sort of... He comes off as the main protagonist or the leader, right? Called the Monitor, right? Because he kind of oversees the whole multiverse. And he's like, I need to summon the universe's greatest heroes. Not only the universe, the multiverse's greatest heroes. Like, who's the best Superman? Who's the best Batman? Bring him over here. So, in his kind of first attempt to kind of combat this antimatter invasion, he summons heroes, right? He gathers heroes together from all across the multiverse, brings them together, and this is where the story just gets completely insane. I cannot express to you how weird this story is, okay? So the Antimatter starts off by, like, okay, I want to fight off the antimatter invasion. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to get Superman, but he's really old. I'm going to get a caveman, okay? Blue Beetle, a monkey that flies in a cape, a woman with fire powers, and a guy who can control human emotions. Now listen, those are really cool superpowers. But this is literally Armageddon, the end times, the world, like the universe, existence itself is ending. And he chose a caveman and a monkey. And I understand, maybe be like, these characters must be really powerful then, The monkey dies immediately. You know why? Because it's a freaking monkey! What were you thinking? Why would you send a monkey out to fight the horrors of the universe? I understand it can talk, okay? I know it can talk, but it literally died in the first mission. Okay, that's my rant about the monkey. Whatever. Some really ridiculous stuff happens, okay? And guess what? That's only 2 issues in. This is a 12-issue comic series. This is a long story. Most comics run for 6 issues. This is double that amount. When I was reading this, I felt like I was like, holy cow, when is it going to end? It's not ending. Even when they hit climaxes, I'm like, okay, they beat the villain. This is awesome. It's still going. There is so much that happens in this story that it feels like someone wanted to do like a Lord of the Rings version of DC. It's insane. So, like I said, I just don't understand why. It doesn't need to be this long. The story, like I said, is very simple. The universes are ending. The heroes need to come together to fight this Armageddon, to stop this Armageddon. That's it, you know? Like I said, only 2 issues in. A ton of more stuff happens. I'm just going to rattle them off right here because I have them on a list. Okay, so they have 2 Earth. All the Earths are destroyed except 5, and those 5 Earths go to war with each other. All the villains and heroes fight in a war to defend each other's planets. Alexander Luthor and Supergirl have a son, Lex Luthor, being a godlike being who covers up all the loopholes that come from this ridiculous story. Okay, you also have the character Pariah, who like predicts the future of their end times. He goes to all the Armageddon events. Spectre, who just shows up and defeats the villain. I didn't even see him beforehand. You have the first battle against the Anti-Monitor. You have the death of Supergirl, the funeral of Supergirl, the second battle against the Anti-Monitor, and of course time travel, which undoes all the crap that happened. Oh. You know, in the words of one of my favorite review artists, what were they thinking? Who wrote this? What type of drugs had you had to be taking to write this ridiculous story? Okay, I'm gonna be honest though, I'm talking a lot of crap. There's a great charm that comes to this, you know, the alloy, the metal eras of superhero comics. It's so campy. It's the campiest thing. They're fighting a monkey. A monkey fights like Thanos, basically. It's insane and kind of funny. You know, ironically, like I said, it kind of defeats the purpose of them trying to make a mainline story for new readers by making this the most ridiculous thing possible. The story just needs to be really simple. All it is that superhero team defeats bad guy who's trying to destroy the world. That's literally it. It doesn't need to be that complicated. But of course, I just assume that they wanted to like end a lot of storylines they were already doing, which is why we had Caveman and Monkey in the stories and other stuff too. Oh, like unfortunately, like I said, because it's just if you want to read this, take it really, really slow. I mean, like 1 issue a week, man. I tried to read this night after night, and I was dying. I was like, wait, I have to go back and read this because I don't understand what that was. Let me go look. Like, it was just weird. it was really hard on me. Hard on my brain. And like I said, I want to approach this review as someone who's new to comics. Okay, I've only been like into this hobby for like 4 months now, and so unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend this. I think they've done a couple of like reboots or like revisiting the series. I haven't read those yet. I know it's like Dark Crisis. There's Infinite Crisis, right? I don't know how similar those are, but I'm sure they might be a little bit different. It might be a little. I know Jeff Johns, right? Really good writer. I love his stuff. He wrote some stuff too. I'll check those out. All right, 3 out of 5. Don't recommend. Toad out.